Alright, so this video was originally going to be a no-talk, all-show of me rebuilding the motor to that. But Granger decided, you know how you said your package was going to be delivered today? Psych! It's actually going to be delivered tomorrow! So, yeah. You see it. Now it's review time. You know it. You love it. So Eureka The Boss bagless wide track SE. I'm guessing that means special edition. So this was a trash find about a year ago, I think. Both filters were trashed. The actual duster for the spin duster was missing, and the whole duster assembly broke. The old brush roll was seized, like rusted stuck. I managed to get a not so rusty stuck bearing on there, but then I eventually just replaced the entire brush roll because, you know, old one is old and worn out. It's probably just as old as a vacuum, so I replaced it. There are also no screws holding down this hood assembly. Thankfully, screws came with the base for the Sanitaire commercial True HEPA that I bought for it, even though it itself does not use screws to hold the hood to the base. So I decided to take those screws and put it on this. The only thing it's missing is the holder for the Power Paw wide track and a Power Paw wide track. I have a Power Paw wide track, but I do not have the holder for said Power Paw wide track. So there are some other things that I want to do with this. I want to get some wheels from Sanitaire, the commercial wheels, because as you can see, these ones are quite shaky. I think the bushing is in there, but the actual wheels themselves are pretty worn out, so I need to replace those. These are pretty worn out. I know that the Sanitaire ones aren't rubber coated or anything, at least these smaller wheels aren't. I know that the big wheels are. Oops. I know that the big wheels are, but the small wheels aren't for some reason, which is weird, but whatever. Yeah, get new wheels. The headlight works. I was thinking about getting some Sanitaire commercial filters, because I mean this one and the dust cup filter's in good shape, but this is not. Even though the filters are pretty much new, and I don't think they're covered in carbon dust yet. No, it is pretty clean. But it's an old stock filter, so it's not surprising that it's been falling apart. Let's see if I can stick it back in. There we go. Also, it's very stubborn to put back in. Yay. The hose is not in bad shape, but I think I might replace it with a Sanitaire hose. Slightly longer and in better shape. This is not the original cord. This cord came off of a shark that I threw away because it's a shark, so it was bound to be for the trash eventually. Duster assembly from eBay. Brush roll from Sanitaire. Yeah. I think I'm the only collector that owns this model. It's a 5855BZ-1. Made in Mexico. Made in 2005. March of 2005. Why do you keep going out of focus? Yeah. 120 volts, 12 amps, 60 hertz. Yeah. I really like this machine. I really do. Most of you know that nowadays I'm not a person that likes bagless machines. I think they're pretty messy. And yeah, but I like this one. It's very quiet. I'd say this is one of the only few store brand machines that can actually boast a sealed system. Because there's a gasket around this blue motor cover right here. That is what makes it sealed. Sealed. Of course, it's got this design, which is not an ideal design for filtration, but it's better than that, and arguably it's better than Shark. As Jordan, aka Vacmaster the Great, said, it's a great machine, even though you had to beat the hell out of that filter to clean it. It still works pretty good. Although I think the models he had have the Ultima style motor. I have the not Ultima style motor. This is the Mexican made one, so it has the Amatec Lam motor in it, which is nice. I find the Amatec Lam motors to have a better, more relaxing sound to them than the Ultima motors or the Ultima style motors. I say that because they use those motors on, you guessed it, the Ultima. So I'm just going to call them the Ultima motors. But I do like the Amatec motors in these because they are relaxing, they're not too whiny, they're very quiet, especially with how these machines are sealed up. It is a perfect machine if you want low noise. You can't find these exact models today, but you can find models under Sanitaire. They're a little more expensive. They're not cheap because they're commercial vacuums. But it's like this, but a little more basic. There's no headlight, no duster, no turbo brush, but it's still the same quiet machine. This is back when Eureka and Sanitaire were owned by Electrolux, so you have the Eureka name, in the UK Electrolux, and I think the US and the UK Electrolux and Sanitaire. Well, not Electrolux, but Sanitaire. And Powerflight made these when their selection was actually interesting and not just any Taconi brand that's not Riccar. So, for a while, these were available in many names, which is amazing. And I think that's for good reason, because they're pretty powerful, they're pretty quiet, they clean very good, and even though the bagless model setup isn't ideal for allergies, really, this exhaust is pretty much clean. There isn't going to be any dust escaping through here because there is a gasket around here. Of course, usually places would take them outside to dump them, maybe. And the filters, they don't get dirty because the Amatec motors are extremely impressive with how well they are built. Even though it's from Amatec's Shanghai, China division, The motors in these are wonderful. I love these motors. This vacuum is, let me do some math here. This vacuum is 18 years old. Those brushes are not even halfway worn. And this thing saw some heavy use. I said this with my Sanitaire Force. It's a 2012 model, and the brushes on it are barely worn like 1/8 of an inch. Of course, this one's older, so they're going to be worn a little bit more. But they are still, for what looks like the actual distance of, or the actual brush length you get, it is still a pretty good amount of length left. Which is why you probably don't see a lot of carbon dust on these filters, even after such a long period of use. Because there is barely any carbon dust coming out of the motors at all. Another thing I wish they would have kept was the headlight. I don't understand why the headlights are being done away with. I think it is dumb. I love me a good headlight. That's probably what makes it 12 amps compared to the Sanitaire Forces being 10 amps was probably the headlight, because it's the same motor with a third pigtail lead for the headlight, but whatever. I still think the headlights are a cool feature and sometimes a necessity, especially if you're like me and you're too lazy to turn on some lights while vacuuming. But anyways, let's give this a run, even though you've seen it running in my last video. I'll still give it a run because I want to. One thing I like this one compared to other Boss bagless wide tracks and Whirlwind Lightspeed models is the handle shape and the switch being on the handle. The switch being on a handle, especially kind of like hidden like this so you don't accidentally bump it, I think is a pretty good idea. But I just like the handle being more like this shape. But yeah. Quiet as a mouse. Keep in mind, this has an empty dustbin. We are picking up stuff already. Like I said, these are machines that don't mess around. That's why I love it. Eureka the Boss, bagless wide track, Eureka Whirlwind Lightspeed, Sanitaire Force, Quiet Clean, Power Flight, True HEPA, Electrolux, I think Feather Glide, whatever they're called. All great machines. I love them so much. Bagged or bagless, these are just like some of the few bagless machines I would take. But I just love these machines. They're easy to work on, they're quiet, and they filter pretty good. What more is there to say? This machine gets a solid 8 out of 10 on my ratings. So yeah, I'm Jack's Vax of Safety, signing off with another review, and I will see you all in the next one.